Hey, you two. So, we're here to talk about Queen Sugar, the Borderline family. Bartolone, excuse me. They're from New Orleans. Okay, so, so this is season 2, episode 6. They start off with they're hanging this sign. At first, when I first started the show, I thought a woman was going to be Queen Sugar. That was someone's name. I had the feeling that it was going to be Nova. Was like going to be like this African queen, but then someone told me, well, the crop, they call that Queen Sugar. Well, Charlie has taken the name Queen Sugar and named this mill. So she's about to open the mill. They're hanging the sign, and they're preparing the celebration for the opening of this. She'll be the first black woman to own a mill in that town, or I guess that state in Louisiana. Anyway, so that's how they open. They open it. Darla is working for Charlie now. They kind of skipped ahead. Last week, she just announced that she got the job with Charlie. Now she is working with her. So they're getting along well. She's nervous. She's got a real job now. I mean, it's not to say that that a secretary is a grand thing, but it is considerably more significant than working at the parking lot. So she wants to make a good impression, but she gets nervous and she spills coffee all over her dress. Charlie sees her. There's some intimacy building between Charlie, not physical intimacy, but Charlie's starting to really take an interest in mentoring this girl. So she says, well, listen, go to the apartment, which is part of the mill, and pick out something to wear. Oh, that's okay. I don't want to. Well, you can't walk around with, coffee on your dress. Go find something. So there's a weird kind of a scene. I thought it was going to end up something that I wasn't going to like very much, because she goes there to pick out a dress. She picks out this fancy little dress, and Micah's there. Now, she's older than Micah. Her appearance is older than Micah, but they look kind of like a couple. Anyway, I know the boy's only 16 years old. So it wasn't like that, but in many dramas, it would end up something would happen because they're alone. They're in this closet, and she's trying on these clothes on. They're alone in the closet together. Didn't go there, and I'm glad it didn't go there, because she's a little older than him, but not a whole lot older. She looked like Darla's maybe 25 years old. So anyway, okay. So what happens next? Okay, so Charlie's been interviewed. She knew she had this interview coming up about being this first black woman to own this mill, right? So it's for Esquire magazine, and the reporter is coming to interview her. A different interviewer shows up, journalist shows up. She's not familiar with this person. Now, this is only my thinking. There might be something not right about this. This reporter, because if I'm expecting someone else and someone else shows up at the door without me getting any notice that this person is changed or this different person is coming, I think it's suspicious. Now remember, we still have these laundries in the background. So anyway, this man comes and he already suspects something's not quite right with Charlie. He thinks it's weird that she would go from this glamorous life in Los Angeles to this, to just running this mill in this small town. Now, as far as we know, no one knows about her splitting with Davis yet. But he's on to something. He's kind of sniffing around. And I think that there may be something weird about that, because he just showed up unannounced. Anyway. Okay, so this writer is going to be kind of all through this scene, interviewing her, but not all at the same time. It's going to be a couple of different times when he's interviewing her, digging deeper. At some point, she tells him, okay, listen, I'm leaving Davis, but I want you to tell this story just about the mill. And I promise you, I will give you exclusive on the story about Davis and me. Right? Because he's digging. He's digging at that story, but she don't want it to interfere with the story about the mill. Okay, so Next thing happens is Nova finds out that Nova's sitting at her father's desk. She goes to the top of his desk, and there's a check there, $600 something. They didn't know that he moonlighted, he had a little part-time job to help support himself. This is the way she finds out. She goes to the company where the check is from. It is the legitimate check. I guess this is his last work check. And finds out that her father worked there as a janitor, custodian. This is kind of heartbreaking for her to think that he was doing that kind of work when he had this farm to run. I guess it's more prestigious to run a farm, but it's nothing quite like a paycheck. So he obviously supplemented his income by working there. She finds out, okay, then Ralph Angel is at the store with his son, Blue, and the cashier. This is not the same store, but in the very first episode, Ralph Angel was robbing this store, right? And I always wonder whatever happened with that. They didn't pursue it right away, but now he is running to this girl, bringing this merchandise to the counter. She recognizes him. It's you. Oh my God, it's you. I lost my job. I don't know who you. I've never seen you before. Yes, you do. It's you. I know it's you. Because she saw his face very well in the when he robbed her. I was hoping that there would be some kind of kumbaya between those two. Perhaps he could pay her back in some kind of way or something. And maybe that'll still happen. But she's very angry, and he leaves the store abruptly. He puts the money on the counter and leaves. Thank God he didn't end up getting shot, because he goes in his back pocket to get his money after she's already screaming. He goes in his back pocket. You know, that's usually a lot of times in fiction. That's when he gets shot. So they think he's going for a gun. Okay, so that story is still kind of open. We don't know what's going to happen with this girl. She just recognized him. Okay. They end up in conversation. He needs to explain to Blue what that was all about. Yeah, I don't think he didn't tell the kid about that, but he did say that he wasn't gonna lie anymore, which ends up being a kind of a big part of the story. Okay, so he leaves the store. At some point, he hears Blue. They're at some function. They're trying to put together this remembrance for their father. I don't know how long he's been dead. It seems to me that a memorial service will be kind of strange at this point. I don't know if this is a year celebration. What they want to put together some kind of a thing honoring the father, though. Initially, Aunt Vi doesn't want to be part of it. You know, so she has her personal issues. We don't know what it was with her brother. She doesn't want to go to a service for her brother. She feels like he's dead, he's gone, let it be. But Hollywood convinces her that you should go and pay your respects. So I guess it's some kind of late memorial service. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how long he's been dead. I thought some time had passed. Anyway, so initially Aunt Vi said no, she don't want to go, but Hollywood talks her into attending. Okay, at the event, we hear Blue crying. He's hiding behind a curtain. His father finds him. Ralph Angel finds him. Finds out, asking what's wrong, and Blue tells him that this is not my child. This is not Kenya. She had a birthmark. I know my child. So I think this is going to be the separation of him and his doll, because he's not connected to any old doll. You know, he's connected to Kenya. Kenya's gone, and so his father tells him that she got thrown away. He didn't go into whether it's an accident or not. He definitely did not expose that his mother had thrown her away. But Blue was kind of leaving it on the ground. He wasn't connected to this other doll. It had to be his doll. Anyway, so he tells his boys he's not going to be dishonest with him anymore. Although he is not exposed that, you know, crank that one up between him and his mother. We'll get back to that. This thing ends in a big scene, so some things are going to be closed up at the end of this. All right. There's a big ribbon cutting at the mall. They're having a big party, some food. I guess it's a barbecue kind of thing. Small town kind of a thing. But they're opening the mill. As they're opening the mill, the alarms go off, and one of the machines has jammed with this stuff that they produce to make sugar. Okay, so everybody rushes into the mill, and Charlie has this nervous breakdown, or this episode where she's pulling, trying to get the stuff that's clogging the machines. Now, this apparently is not an unusual thing that happens in mills, but she doesn't know anything about the mill business. So she's panicking. So she has basically a panic attack. She's pulling all this stuff out of the machine, trying to fix it herself. And everybody sees this, including the reporter who's writing the story about her life. Okay. And okay, at some point the reporter tells, yes, I was there. I did see it. What's going on with you? And that's when she tells them about her and Davis. Promises we'll do the story later about my divorce. Stay focused on what you're doing, right? I still don't know what's going on with this reporter. He could very easily be a plant by the laundries to get information they can use against her. They do send a welcome kind of thing to the event. The laundries, the old man laundry. Okay, Darla makes two. Okay, it's kind of touching story. I'm an ex-addict myself. I don't buy that thing. You're always an addict. I used to do drugs, but I like delivered. Anyway, but Darla, and she has been handling this. She's been pretty realistic about this path to sobriety. So now she's about to celebrate 2 years clean. Milestone. And she asked Charlie Charlie taking a liking to this girl, and she's like her big sister now. She wants her to attend. She said, so of course I'll attend. So she's got to go to her 2 years celebration. But this girl is very cautious. She knows what she's up against as far as this recovery goes. Anything that threatens her recovery has to go, including Ralph Angel. She didn't jump back into that. And I just happen to know personally that that's the advice they give, not to get involved. But she's part of the family. Okay. Okay, so now for the big scene. All right, they're all together after this memorial service type thing for the father, right? And Aunt Vi asks Ralph Angel to say the prayer, family prayer. He says no. Nova tells him, do it. It's right. Do it. You're the man of the house now. So he starts praying, and then he starts talking. And then he talks his way right into this. He just promised the kid he's going to be honest now, right? Now, I don't know why it's so important for him to be honest about this particular thing. But he tells the family that he has not been honest with them, that there was a letter left by his father leaving the farm to him and him alone. Okay. It doesn't go over well. Charlie immediately goes into, what? Of course. Later, Nova goes into, what? So he's broken to them. Now, the father, he said the father left the farm to him because he needed it most. Now, maybe it's just because I'm a man. I don't know. But I completely, totally, and absolutely understand why the father did what he did. Now, Nova is a full person. Nova is a reporter herself. She's very involved in the community. She has her own house, her own home, and she does not live on the farm. Plus, they weren't that particularly close at the end of his life. I mean, she lived away. Not that he was holding that against her, but she had her own life, right? Charlie, of course, Charlie was a wealthy woman, married to an athlete, living away. There's no reason he would necessarily leave a farm to Charlie. First of all, she didn't need it. And if Charlie really wants to have a farm, she just go buy one. She bought everything else. But she had, so she was, not only was she married to him, but she was also, I think she's an attorney, an accomplished woman in her own right. Right. The key thing was, he said, because he needed it most, and it's the truth. Ralph Angel's life is that farm. He has no life outside of that. He has no interest outside of that. He has no skills outside of that. Without the farm, he is nothing. It was deliberate. He said, you're the one who needs the farm. And what the hell is Charlie so mad about? I mean, granted, she's putting a lot of money into this thing, but she throws money at things. That's what she does. They need a meal, she just go buys one. You know, she had, not only does she have the resources, and now that she's divorced, she really gonna have the resources, but she's also got the mind. She's a businesswoman. So I think maybe what would be right would be that she should have some kind of legal tie to that place because she put so much money into it. Either he pays her back, or he gives her a piece of the property as a business, but he's the primary person. I don't think that Nova is that invested in the farm, to tell you the truth. She doesn't live there. She doesn't work the farm. The only one who really works the farm is Ralph Angel. And so maybe they have to give him a little bit more respect if he's the actual owner of the farm, but Charlie doesn't need that place. She has started a mill, a business, right? She's there to grow that business. So the farm has already served its purpose as far as getting her back there and getting her involved in the thing. But now she's got a full-time responsibility to run the mill. The mill is not on the farm. So I don't think the man did anything particularly wrong. I think he did what was right. Probably if I lived in Indiana still, my sisters, you know, they have their own families, they have their own lives, they have their own properties. I would probably be the most pitiful one there. My mother would probably leave the house to me because I'm the one that needs it. If one of the sisters was doing bad or she had family, kids she had to raise, they would leave it to her. It's just who needs the property. No, I'm not moving back to Indiana. I don't give a damn what you left me. I'm just making a point. This has got to settle in. But I don't think that Charlie is destroyed because she does not live. She moves off the farm. She don't even live there. She don't have to have her name on the paper. That's the last thing she needs, another piece of property. She's got plenty. So they're just going to have to get used to the idea of the Ralph Angel. But they're a family. So be a family. You know, they all work there. Part of the farm or part of the mill. Two separate things. So I think they'll be able to work that out. It's not the end of the world. Anyway, so that was Queen Sugar, episode 6. It was a good episode. It ended with a bang. So I enjoyed it thoroughly. It's one of my favorite shows. Actually, I think it is my favorite show. That and the Greenleafs. Good job, Oprah.